Welcome to today's webinar, announcing Amazon Pinpoint, targeted push notifications for mobile apps. Our presenter today is Georgie Matthews. Georgie is a Senior Product Manager with AWS. Today with us, we also have Daniel, Graham, and Brian serving as our webinar moderators. They will engage with you and answer your questions throughout the presentation. Georgie, welcome. The floor is now yours.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking the time out to attend this presentation and webinar on where we get to talk to you about Amazon Pinpoint. As you know, Amazon Pinpoint is one of the services that we launched during reInvent in 2016, and I'm really excited to be talking to you about this service. What are we going to be talking to you about? And today, from this session, what I want to key takeaways is explain Pinpoint, talk about how Pinpoint is useful when you're thinking about developing great mobile apps, developing great solutions for your end users, and leave you with a demo of Pinpoint, its capabilities, and talk to you about, hey, how AWS is thinking about bringing the mobile engagement and analytics needs that a mobile developer has together under Pinpoint. So we will go through the overview of the product. The overview will include what are the gaps. We'll talk about why Amazon Pinpoint, what do you need, and what our feedback from our customers have been as you're developing this journey. We'll talk about the capabilities. We will talk about the customer example and getting started, and then have a demo. So welcome to Amazon Pinpoint. So this is a screen grab we have from our if you're getting started page. And what this highlights to you the three critical levers or pivots that Pinpoint has. Number one is Pinpoint Analytics, which helps you to analyze user behavior, improve campaign performance, and get all the data that is relevant to your mobile apps to understand how your end users are behaving with the apps you create. The next piece is Pinpoint Campaign Management and Segmentation. So you have all this great data. What do you do with it? How do you define which audience set, which customer is the best audience, best customer to reach out to with a specific campaign? You use Pinpoint Campaign Management and Segmentation to define who to reach out to, when to reach out to, and with what cadence to reach out to them. The last piece is Pinpoint Messaging. Today, Pinpoint Messaging enables you to create powerful, personalized, customized messages to reach out to your customers and to be effectively able to engage them. Why is this important? From our data that we have received, or from our research, what we have gathered is Pinpoint enables targeted messaging, and targeted push notifications, targeted campaigns are 3 times more effective than your transactional broadcast push notifications. What that effectiveness translates to from a user experience is that the users are happy with the communication they're getting from you because it's more relevant to them. It prevents them from actually opting out from those from receiving push notifications, and it keeps them more engaged and interacting repeatedly because you're actually reaching out to the right audience with the right message. How does these work? So we think about this as a digital engagement platform for both the developer and the marketer. So the key here being there are 2 personas, the developer and the marketer here. And with Pinpoint, we want to be able to address to both these customer segments. And I talked about the 3 pivots, and this is how we bring it together. So you analyze your user behavior, you define who to target, then you create the right message to reach out to each of these audience, and then you measure the improvement via campaign analytics on how these features are working together, how these campaigns are working together. And this enables you to continuously improve the effectiveness of your platform and relevance of your platform to your end users. One of the points that I want to stress here is I would really think about this, thinking about engagement, thinking about who your end user is, how do you want to message and ensure continued retention, because as you're developing your app from day one, because some of the stats we got was it takes around roughly upwards of $10 to actually acquire a user. And nearly 25% of users never come back to an app after the first day. And the drop-off rate after a week is close to upwards of 70%. So the end message being, you put in so much effort to develop great mobile apps. You put in effort to bring customers to your apps. And why not think upfront about how do you ensure that they keep coming back to your apps? How do you ensure that they're engaged and you can retain them in a proactive manner? So these screenshots actually convey to you the three pivots that we talked about. The first screen grab is about the analytics console in Pinpoint. Second one on the top is about the segmentation console in Pinpoint. And third one is the message creation window for actually engaging, creating personalized messages. Why Amazon Pinpoint? When we started developing Pinpoint and we started thinking about Pinpoint, we talked to our customers. As we did our research, we found that the space, the marketing and engagement space is a rich space. There's a lot of options for you out there. But each of these options have missing pieces. Each of these options have gaps, and that presented to us an opportunity to innovate and build and think about something that can actually bring these pieces together for you as a customer. And that's our goal, to actually piece this story together and to enable that it's a cohesive story, and to enable you to actually not have to think about these marketing pieces again and again as you evolve, as you grow, or as your use cases change. So what the pain points that we have heard have been, as I said, as we grow, some of these solutions are unable to scale. We started off with a certain throughput expectation, and we build our application on that throughput expectation. Now that we have a different scale or load volume, we are not able to hit that throughput expectation. Unreliable, classical, as we think about scale, if you're unable to scale, with that inability to scale, you also have reliability issues in terms of getting the right data at the right time, data inconsistency, etc. Inflexible. The point with inflexibility is that most solutions in this space are bundled solutions, and the way the pricing is thought of is an all-up bundled pricing where you get all the features, and you can't really change the features and change the functionality that you use based on your use case or based on what is most relevant to you as a customer. And the last one is, because of that, most of these solutions end up being expensive. And because of the other fact being that, as I started earlier, this is the last part of the thought process where you build, and thus you also have the least amount of flexibility. You also have the least amount of okay, you really want to engage your customers. So at that point, you end up having to pay a lot, and you end up having to have a lot of expensive options to actually engage your customers effectively. So given that context, how did we think about building Pinpoint? And what capabilities does Pinpoint have? I think from this slide, the key takeaways that I want you to take away is, one, campaign management and ability to create smart campaigns and to not over-communicate to your customers and continuously improve those campaigns. So features like A/B testing, control group testing, or holdout testing, quiet time, message caps, rich notifications, are all features that are enabling you to create really smart push notification campaigns to engage your users. Rich notifications is ability to send out images while in your push notifications. So think about if you were a retail app and you wanted to engage your users saying, hey, this is a great deal for you. How beautiful it is if you could actually send them an image of the product that is on sale. If you were thinking about, you were a newsfeed app and you wanted to keep sending updates to your customers based on their frequency of receiving those updates, but you want to guard them in some ways to not reach out to them during from say 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. So you have features like quiet time and message caps, and also to actually schedule the recurring cadence, you can schedule your campaigns. Second part is the rich analytics, the additional capabilities we've added to the analytics platform to enable campaign and app analytics, and also segments and funnels, and add a downstream flexibility to use it. So the couple of points on the downstream flexibility are being able to export your data to S3, to customize your app based on custom events. So you can say, all right, my app is a sports app. I want to be able to customize how different customers are interacting with different pieces of my app. Like if I'm a game developer, I want to understand how they're interacting with the game, what is their current score, or at what time, or when they are moving from one level of the game to the next level. Similarly, the third part is flexibility with segmentation, flexible intuitiveness of actually engaging with the segments and being able to target the right audience. That flexibility comes from a couple of things, right? Ability to see, hey, what's the depth of these segments? That segment analytics offers you that. And the ability to actually create personalized segments or customized segments based on your business logic. That is enabled by custom attributes that are part of Pinpoint. We talked about two customer personas. We talked about the developer and the marketer. So this is how we thought about, as with all the products we develop at AWS, this is how we thought about the developer. Pinpoint is positioned for the developer as a marketing automation solution where you get server-side API and CLI support to actually enable seamless integration with your segmentation database platforms and enable marketing automation. This helps DevOps folks on the call in terms of being quicker to empower your marketers to be able to segment users based on the business logic they want to apply. This enables you flexibility to add your business logic via APIs to your marketing campaigns and to your segmentation campaigns. And that flexibility also continues on to how you instrument your app and how you actually instrument your app with custom events, and then instrument and customize your endpoints and target audience with custom attributes. I want to take a minute talking about custom events and custom attributes because in some of the feedback we received, there's some confusion on what the difference between these two are. So if you think about custom events, they are personalized, their instrumentation of flexibility offered at the app level. And perfect examples for this is if you're a retail app, it will be an add to cart event. And it will help you realize how many users have added to cart. So, or it could be also your current game level or increase in a game level. If you're a game app, it could be, hey, what is your next level? Or it could be when they have actually accessed a new feature in the app. That could be a custom event. Custom attributes is instrumentation and personalization at the individual user level, where you can enrich the metadata for each user and say to enable smarter targeting. And this could be some examples here are favorite sports team, favorite news topics, favorite demographics of the user. You could also have functionality like what was the last item purchased by this user, or does the user have any items pending in cart, and have features like this. And the last piece I want to talk about from a developer perspective is the ability to influence app behavior using silent push and data notifications. Silent push and data notifications are notification packets that are sent in the background to a user's end device. And typically how customers are using this is to actually to be able to influence app behavior and also to instrument in-app messaging for their mobile applications. The new customer persona that we have added with Pinpoint, that we are focusing on with Pinpoint, is the marketer. Some of the way we have thought about this is a marketer wants a rich console experience where the marketer can come in and visually see how to interact with the different pieces and different functionality that Pinpoint has. we've gone further down rather than just giving pure campaign functionality. We've gone further down into say, if your marketing team wants to create campaigns, they also want to have data on how the campaigns are performing and also tools to improve that campaign messaging. And that's where we came up with A/B testing and control group testing to actually empower your teams to say, hey, this is the value of the campaigns you're running. So enabling them to say, all right, if you were reaching out to 1 million users with a particular campaign to judge effectiveness, you define a 10% control group. So you hold out a campaign message from 100,000 of those users, and then compare these two user sets to see what is the effectiveness of these campaigns. We also have features like ability to segment users dynamically. So with our segmentation features, we enable the marketer to define a segment expression, and that expression then is basically a logic that says, okay, this segment is mapped. Contains hey, all users who've used an app in the last 7 days, and like the Seattle Seahawks. So that's the expression. And if they create a weekly campaign, which are Seattle Seahawks news updates, at that point, what will happen is before every run of that particular campaign, so we call it a campaign instance, before every campaign instance, we will recompute who is the target audience eligible for this campaign run. So based on the expression that the marketer defined, we'll say, all right, week 1, there were 50,000 users. Week 2, now you have 100,000 users who are eligible to receive this message. And the last piece is ability to actually create richer notifications using the rich media. So you can actually, you are able to now send rich images so that they can get creative with their marketing campaigns on the mobile apps. Moving on. So last piece is, I think this is also a journey for us. So we are always looking for more feedback from you guys on what can we improve, how can we build further, and we believe that at Pinpoint, this is day 1 for us to address a new customer audience, and we are constantly learning. We talked about segmentation. This slide walks you through an example of segmentation, and outlines what are the different attributes. So usage attributes could be how the user is interacting with the app. So you have recency, frequency, device attributes are out-of-the-box attributes based on device, make, model, country, etc. And you have custom attributes, and this is where the customization comes on. You can favorite season, interest in news topics, frequent buyer. You can segment your users based on this. These are examples, a few screenshots of examples with the segmentation. I want to spend time on the second screenshot, which highlights the functionality for automation in terms of bringing or importing data from external sources. So you can actually get it, if you maintained a segmentation data analytics platform, you could actually bring in that data for targeting and campaign scheduling to Pinpoint using S3 as a CSV or a JSON file, and you can provide us those details here, and all you need to provide us at that point will be just endpoint IDs. And if you want to personalize individual messages per user, you can say endpoint ID and message. So 2 types of files you can upload here would be, number 1, a CSV or a JSON file with just a list of endpoint IDs you want to target. Number 2, a CSV and JSON file with a list of endpoint IDs and messages, with each of the messages could be personalized message that you want to send out. And based on the campaign you created, as the campaign creation flow, the campaign you have entered will be we assume that is the default campaign, and we override this personalized message on that default campaign and send this personalized message instead of the default campaign. And if it's blank, we'll send the default campaign out. Some examples of how you use targeted push notifications. We've talked through most of these. I think what I want to talk about is retention message. A good example is, and this will be relevant for almost everyone here, is we have app developers who have started using the app and now trailed off in usage and have not used the app in the last 7 days, last 15 days. And you want to be able to create a retention message saying, hey, come back. Or you want to say, hey, there is this new feature, do you want to use it? So you want to send an update to them, and you want to be able to target them so that you're not over communicating with them. And this is where you could use things like retention message. You can also, this slide is intended on the capabilities for analytics. So we talked about analytics. What are the capabilities? There's a screen grab on the funnels section of the analytics, and you also see the overview of it. We've talked about most of these features here. Now the last part I wanted to talk about is customer example and getting started. So this is a customer we have launched this. This was a launch partner, Ajero, and how they used this product was to be able to create weekly challenges, to be able to create push campaigns on surprise bonus points, gift redemption, and what segments did they create? They created segments based on active users, so used the app in the last 30 days, targeted users, so they actually targeted users based on their registration date. So this is a great example of customers creating a custom attribute called as registration date and targeting users based on their registration date. And then this is an example of a segment created as a JSON format is all users who have joined a particular challenge. And this comes from the S3 as an S3 import, and they can create a campaign like this, a segment like this. What campaigns did they create with Pinpoint? The campaigns that they created with Pinpoint were lifecycle campaigns. So at every part of the user's journey, they created, hey, at sign up, send them a welcome message. If they are not using the app in the last 7 days, send them a re-engagement message, etc. And if their usage has dropped off, send them after 30 days, after 15 days, send them a retention message. Challenges. Part of their use case was gamification of their app, and they used Pinpoint to actually create daily challenges, weekly challenges, and engage their users via these challenges. Rewards. This is an example of messages targeted to a specific eligible set of users who are exclusively eligible for these rewards, and to be able to target them individually. And social. This is, hey, how do you invite your friends? So based on have you reached out to a set of customers or not? Reach out to a new set of customers who are more engaged, going to be more engaged with your app. Testing and analytics. This screenshot shows you the example of how the user used A/B testing. So the user ran 2 campaigns, completed 60 and completed 40. And the objective of this was, hey, how do these campaign messages perform when compared to each other? And based on this, you decide that, hey, campaign A performs better because of the results, the open rate that you see as part of the A/B testing. Great. A closer look, how does the customer build this? So they instrument the SDK to get all the app data via Pinpoint Analytics. That was sent to Pinpoint segmentation. That is maintained by Pinpoint segmentation for actually enriching the user's data so that the analytics data is available for segmentation. This is visible to the user on the console. Then they have their own personalized business logic sitting on the customer's backend. They do additional processing and they define logic on who to target based on this rich data. And this is use cases for who to target to join challenges, who to target for rewards, etc. They use API Gateway and Lambda to actually, and the Pinpoint APIs that are available to actually push all of this rich segmentation data again back to Pinpoint. So I want to take a couple of things here, right? Think about the 2 ingress points into the Pinpoint segmentation system. You have Pinpoint Analytics that is making data available for segmentation directly via Pinpoint, via direct integration, which is integration with the customer side integration. And then you have Pinpoint APIs where customers are able to send all of the segmentation data if they want via the API route. And this is how they enrich it think about any use case. This is how you could enrich the segmentation data and make it more relevant, because now you have this client-side data as well as server-side data that you can bring to the same user context and enrich the user context based on what is most relevant data for you. Last part is the flexibility of the system here is you could just have a client-side context for segmentation, or you could have 100% server-side context and just use APIs and APIs or import functions for enriching the customer data. Once you have this, you create campaigns to enable the right campaigns, and those campaigns are scheduled and sent to the end user via Pinpoint messaging, and the effectiveness of those campaigns are relayed back to Pinpoint via the analytics route. So we talked about reliability and scale being primary concerns with the system. So we thought about this as a couple of points for scale is the throughput that we can deliver and the flexibility that we offer our customers. Think about, we can send out over 1 million messages in under a minute. You can import more than 1 million profiles in under 4 minutes. You have a lot of flexibility with instrumentation and defining custom events as well as custom attributes. And last piece is, I think, the rich experience AWS has in offering mobile services, and we having serviced confidently more than thousands of customers across all these services. I think that gives us a lot of confidence on how to do this and a lot of rigor, operational rigor on how to do this correctly and do this scale correctly and think about the product as to, hey, not just now, what happens when it does 1,000 customers, 10,000 customers. And that's a message, that underlying message as to why we feel confident about the scale. Perfect. The other two features were inflexibility, or pain points were inflexibility and pricing. I think the way we thought about this was when we worked back from the customer on, hey, what are the customers actually using these services or tools for? They are using these services to understand the users, and that's a transport function of inbound events. The next part is the outbound, reaching out to the users with messages, and that's your outbound channel. And the third piece, which is the central piece, is the piece that ties the events and the messages together into an intelligent campaign management segmentation system. And what we did is we actually said, why not price each of these individually, saying, hey, if you were using the inbound channel, and this then gives you the flexibility as a customer to pick and choose which feature you want to use. So if you just want to use Pinpoint for, you were an early stage app, just wanted to understand how your app end users are using your app, you enable Pinpoint analytics, get all the rich data, and you have a price for the inbound analytics, which is $1 per million events. Then if you wanted to now create campaigns, or if you just want to not use analytics and just wanted to create targeted messages and campaigns, you can just pay for the targeting fee as well as the message outbound fee, and that will then enable you to reach out to your customers effectively. And the next step, the second part of the simplification process was we decided that, hey, let's not have multiple tiers on these pricing. Let's figure out what is the easiest way for our customers to understand what their costs will be as they scale. And we decided, hey, let's have one free tier and one paid tier. And that's how we went about this. And this enables customers to have the flexibility to actually be transparent about and be realistic about how their costs will grow as they grow, and how the costs will scale with their growth. Cool. How do you get started as a developer? I would say couple of ways, right? One of the ingress points is Mobile Hub. Start with Mobile Hub, click on user engagement, and enable user engagement, and then Mobile Hub will provide a rich experience on getting started. You can also go to the Pinpoint console, and I'll show this on the demo, and create a project that will push you to the getting started on Mobile Hub, and then you can create the project, define the project name, enable user engagement, and your download. So For us, as we've gone through this, one of the quick keys was how can we make it as seamless and as quick as possible. So it's like getting in a few minutes, you can just go into Mobile Hub, enable the project, enable user engagement, download the SDK, download the sample app, and you have a initial shell of the app already ready and written for you. And then it's up to you, which runs with Pinpoint. And then it's up to you to add business logic onto that app. If you already have an existing app, you can download the SDK, and you have a lot of the integration steps with the documentation where you can quickly integrate Pinpoint with your app. What is the availability for Pinpoint? Pinpoint is currently available in out of IAD, which is US East 1, and we are aggressively planning to scale the Pinpoint features globally and keep watching for that. How do you work around this? The next piece is the demo. What I want to talk to you about is the various functionality on the demo. So if you can see my screen, the first part is getting started, and this is what I want to also like. Apparently, like, you good? Yep. All right. So this is the documentation page on Pinpoint on getting started. I talked about if you were in Pinpoint, you come to the Pinpoint console, you get this message where you can directly create an app in Mobile Hub by saying, okay, I want to create and if I create a project here, this project will then take you directly to the enable engagement functionality in the app in Mobile Hub. Once you enable engagement, this will provide you with are you guys seeing a different, because okay. All right, so apologies for the confusion here. So as you go into Mobile Hub, you enter user engagement. All you have to do is enable user engagement. You can enter your GCM, FCM credentials here, or your iOS APNS credentials here. Next is you can say save. If you don't want to enter the credentials at this point, just save changes and click on integrate with your app. Here you're taken directly to integrate steps where you can download the sample app. The next steps here, it walks you through how to enable these sample apps. Or you can just download the SDK. As I said, if you have an existing app, download the SDK and you follow the steps on, hey, how to integrate the SDK and embed the SDK into your app. You have similar options for iOS Objective-C, for iOS Swift. It's coming soon. The next piece is once you've done this, how do you next get started with how do you actually use Pinpoint and the various functionality in Pinpoint? So give me one sec. As I've completed this, you've already seen these two features, these two additional projects that I've added the Friday Pinpoint webinar one right now. You see that already, that's reflecting on the Pinpoint console. This is a new AWS Feed Reader, is a new Pinpoint feature that we created for this demo purposes. So if you click on the app, you are taken to the campaigns page because you have no existing campaigns. As you've already instrumented the app with your SDK, you can see the various numbers on, okay, what's the app behavior for your users. So you can go to the overview screen. What the overview screen tells you is who are the targetable users, how many new users you have. You also have functionality to actually drill down in additional data. So you have functionality to actually get more details on your users, how they break down by country, what is the breakdown by what time of day, what time of day and what hour of the day are they using the app and how frequently are they using the app. You can, I'll come back to campaign metrics, demographics. So as I said, we enable you to drill down on your segments. So if you were a customer, you wanted to get device attributes, see how what's the distribution of your end users by attributes. You could see the attributes right here. So this is the device attributes functionality is out of the box. The next piece is custom attributes. If you have custom attributes, you will see, hey, these are all the custom attributes that you have. What's your, so the 3 custom attributes that we have created here is interest, persona, and subscription. So the business context for this app being, this app is an AWS feed reader app we've created. The app, what the app does is it sends you notification messages based on your interest in a particular AWS topic. And that's what's the interest in the particular AWS topic is what is conveyed with the interest area. And the next part is what the persona of the user is. This is what I talked about is the demographic of the user. So this is an example of how we've created the custom attribute persona, and then we've assigned users based on what channel they came from. You could use this also for acquisition demographics of what acquired channel do the users come from. And the third bit is subscription. So in the app, we build a context of paid users and free and premium users. So you can actually see what's the split between your free and premium users. So if you quickly scroll over it, it actually gives you the actual number of how many users are premium subscription users and how many users are free subscription users. Cool. I talked about custom events in the presentation. As you instrument your app, you can also have the functionality to see custom events. So you can see how many custom events are generated. You can see, you can go through each of the custom events and see, okay, how many were get feed events. And it'll tell you, hey, these were all the get feed events from the app. And then you can also filter by attributes. The last piece is funnels. So if you want to talk about look through funnels, you can actually create funnels for different subscriptions. So here we created a funnel on how many were subscribed, so how many session starts, how many subscribe, and how many unsubscribes happen. And that'll quickly help you realize, hey, what's your drop-off rate across these funnels. You have the ability to create new funnels and also save them for future use. Last part is campaign metrics. If you have an existing campaign, so this is basically historical. As you said, we currently have no campaigns on the campaign console that are active, so you don't see anything that's below. But based on historical campaigns that have run on this app, we realized that there are 8 active users, and we had delivered 19 messages to those 8 active users. And you get an open rate. Next part of the functionality is talking about segments. How do segments work, and how do you create the right targeted audience? If you click, so this is the segment management page. If you click on new segment, you're taken to the segment creation widget where you have options on, hey, build your own segment. So you can define the segment expression as I talked here. So you can say, tell me all users who have used the app in the last 30 days, with the country being US, and the interest being, if I were to say, mobile. So you say, you quickly understand that there are 4 users, and this 4 users is the current snapshot of all your active users. So if a week from now, and if you use this segment on a campaign, and a week from now, you were reusing this, we'll recompute, at the time of use, we'll recompute what the current audience size is for the segment. And that's out of the box with Pinpoint. The next piece is ability to import via S3. So you can provide us a CSV or a JSON file where you can actually import your static segments. So these could be based on your segmentation logic. You could say, send a message to 1 million users, and you could do that using the import segment functionality. Just give us that as an S3 URL, and we will import that to Pinpoint and make that available for your campaigns. So if you look at the segment page view now, we've already created 4 segments. And the 4 segments that we created were active, bots, humans, and bots who like analytics. So couple of why do you think that there's a difference between these two numbers of bots and humans? As I mentioned earlier, to generate your endpoints, you can instrument the app, or you can also import all your endpoints from S3 or make API calls to register new endpoints. So this is a good example of the humans are coming directly from the SDK, and the bots is part of our instrumentation, and we have instrumented additional bots so that we have representative data, and we are making registering these bots, registering these endpoints as API calls. And that's how you can say, all right, even if the bots are not using the app, so that's where the difference between the active users and the total users available in segments, because you can say bring in all these users directly via S3, and that's a static segment that you have available for you for your segmentation. Now, let's go through a campaign creation flow. First up, when you come to a campaign creation flow, you can name a campaign, and you have two options. Do you want to create a standard campaign, or do you want to create an A/B test? So within A/B test, you have options to, do you want to make the A/B test vary on a message, or do you want to make the A/B test vary on a schedule? I want to first walk through the standard campaign workflow, and then we can go through the A/B test workflow. You can use a previously defined segment. So let's just use the active in the last 30 days segment. You can define a control group. If I define a control group for 25%, what this will mean is that out of the 8 users, 2 of my users will not receive the message. Who are eligible to receive the message, 2 of those users will not receive the message. So quickly, a marketing team can quickly understand what is the impact of these messages by defining a control group. If you hit next step, now you get to the message creation window. You can go into so this is a morning message. It says, hey, we've launched a new feature. Now, if you want to deep link the users directly to that feature, you can just provide a deep link here, and it'll enable launching a new feature, enable the users directly go to that feature. Now, if you were saying, check out our daily deal, and you were to just say this, you could actually enable this by going to advanced and say, hey, this is I want to send the image of the product for the daily deal on this. You also have an option to create silent notifications. So this is the data notifications where these are push messages sent on the background, which enables you to influence app behavior for your users. Once you do this, if you go to open app, let's just say open app, go to next step, you can now have the capability to schedule your campaign. So you can create a campaign to start immediately. You can create a campaign, schedule a campaign in the future, that is once, or you could schedule a recurring campaign as a daily or a weekly or a monthly or an hourly campaign. So the point here being, if you were to now, let's set this up as a daily campaign. Start today, say start off at 12 Pacific, and end maybe next week. So a couple note here is, if you look at the window here, what this implies is start the campaign at at Pacific time, noon, and then circle the world based on where your user's locale is, and deliver that message at noon their local time. If I deselect this, this will mean that send a message to all users in the segment at noon local time Pacific. So irrespective of where they are in the world, they'll receive the message. But now if you want to say, yes, send them all at noon Pacific, but do not reach out to customers who might be in their local time of, say, between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I can quickly put it as 2 and 6. So you quickly can define, hey, this is the start and end for your quiet time. And this will enable, even if you're sending it at noon and it's a blast, a global blast, you can then quickly say that, hey, this is, globally do not send users, if their local time is between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., do not send the users a message. Okay. Next steps, you just review the campaign, and then you can launch the campaign. And this will then schedule a campaign to be sent at noon today. You can look at all your active campaigns in the campaign management screen. If you toggle views, you can say, okay, so you see that this campaign is currently now scheduled. Once this campaign starts running, you will see the analytics of that flow through here in the campaign metrics section. Great. Last piece is manage, where currently you have the functionality to say, if you want to define a cap, so if you remember, we created a daily campaign. What if the same user gets queued to receive the campaign more than all of the 7 days? You can create a max number of messages per campaign functionality that will prevent, and if you set this to 2, what this will do is, even if I get queued 7 times for this particular campaign, I will be sent the message only 2 times. You could also control how many times you reach out to a user in a particular day by saying, what are the max number of messages a user can receive in a day? The next functionality is auto export. So we provide the customers with the functionality to export all their raw data for both analytics and campaign management into S3, where they can actually plug it into their database systems for further custom analytics and also for further visualization if they want. And the last bit, so remember the app that we set up where we just started with the integration step without adding credentials. You can always change, add, or edit your credentials by coming to the channels page. So if you look at right now, we don't have any APNS credentials added here. If you wanted to enable APNS credentials, you could quickly come here, enable APNS credentials, and you're set. Cool. I think that was a part of the demo that we wanted to cover for the session today. At this point, I think we can take any questions you might have.
Great. Thanks a lot, Georgie, for your great presentation, and to the moderators for answering the audience's questions. If you can please take a quick minute to reply to the polls you are now seeing appear on your screen. We have about 10 minutes left, so we are going to start answering questions. We apologize in advance if we don't have a chance to get to all of the questions that have been submitted. Please give us 1 second. I will hand it back over to Georgie. Thank you.
Okay. All right. One of the questions was, does Pinpoint interact at all with SES? Currently, our focus is 100% on push notifications, and we are constantly considering adding additional channels, and we are totally happy to discuss our roadmap in a follow-up meeting with you guys. Reach out to us separately, and we can happy to connect with you guys. The other question, and I think we had a couple of other questions on, how is security handled? Can I limit access to who gets access from we got a question on who gets access and can you limit access to different apps or different projects to different people on the team? Absolutely. You can use IAM policies to restrict access to only a certain audience or certain internal users to certain apps. So you could say if you had 3 or 4 apps, you could say users XYZ get access to app A, user 123 get access to app B, etc. On the custom attributes, there was a question on, is there any limit for the number of custom attributes we support? Yes, there is a soft limit of 40 attributes per end user destination, and definitely happy to talk more about your use case and to understand better how we can support your use case if you have a need for more custom attributes. Okay. The other questions was, does this show data only for users who have opted in for push notifications? So for the Pinpoint analytics piece, we show data for all users across the board. For messaging and targeting, we show you opt-out metrics, and for messaging, we only show users who are eligible for, and we'll only reach out to users who are eligible for the message, for a particular message. Got it. Any other questions that we are seeing, Ryan, in particular? All right, got it. Okay, I think the other question was, how does Pinpoint compare to SNS? I think think about SNS as as just a transport layer functionality where you have to do a lot of the heavy lifting to define who to target, who to segment, and who to reach out to. Pinpoint adds additional functionality to enable that targeting and campaign management out of the box. The piece where I think adding to that, I think we also have functionality for scheduling campaigns. So that scheduling capability is something new. Additional functionality for rich notifications and supporting data notifications and silent notifications is also additionally available with Pinpoint. I think as we think about this, these are 2 distinct use cases. So I want to stress the difference between SNS and Pinpoint as 2 distinct use cases. One is a transactional one-to-one, one-to-many broadcast use case where you're not thinking about the richness of the message or the intent of the message. With Pinpoint, it's a targeted one-to-many but a very focused message where you can personalize and customize that message. And if you remember, one of the things that I started off with was, hey, the effectiveness of push notifications is truly translated when you actually start doing targeted, personalized messages. And the industry data is like it's almost 3 times more effective. And that's where the value of Pinpoint is. Okay, great. At this point, I'm seeing no additional questions on the console. Any additional questions from the attendees?
Please continue submitting your questions. We have about 5 minutes left, so we do have time to take a few more if anyone has any additional questions. Thank you. Okay.
So one question that came up was, what is the purpose of funnels? I think the purpose of funnels is to understand user behavior as a journey and understand user behavior at various points of the app, points of the interaction with your app. So let's talk to the campaign example, right? a funnel is a visual way to quickly drill down on if you send out users 100 users a particular campaign, how many of those users actually received, were targeted, sent the campaign, how many of the users opened the campaign, and then how many of the users then clicked on the campaign or did a follow-on click action on the campaign. Because what you want to truly correlate is, all right, if I'm sending, what's the effectiveness of a message? Your effectiveness of message is at two stages, right? One is on the click or open, and the second is on the action that they took with that. And that's the point where funnels will enable you to do that. So that was a campaign use case. But now if you think about the app context, you want to now say, let's, in a retail use case, you want to define what is the drop-off rate beyond an add to cart page. At that point, you can instrument add to cart as a custom event. Then you can instrument the next click on the page as a secondary custom event. So add to cart, proceed to checkout, and checkout. So these are three custom events. And then you can define a funnel saying how many users click add to cart, how many users click proceed to checkout, and last, how many users click complete checkout. And that quickly tells you what could be the drop-off points, or where do you need to focus and understand user behavior better to enable them to change that behavior or help streamline that behavior or change functionality there. Cool. I think one question we had was, how does this compare to Firebase? I think from a transparency standpoint, I think this is, we've challenged ourselves to be transparent in terms of the pricing and being transparent in terms of clear about how does this pricing translate to what you're using Pinpoint for. Second, I think from a throughput perspective, the throughput offered by Pinpoint is definitely better from both the import as well as outbound messaging capabilities. So this really enables a lot of the real-time campaign management, real-time analytics capabilities. And third, the functionality in terms of custom attributes is a lot richer. And I think ability to create the custom segments is a lot more richer and easier than Firebase supports right now. I think that's where we are. All right, I think we have questions for one more visit. We have time for one more question. Let's see this. All right, I think, nope, I think we're good.
Great. Thank you, Georgie, for a great presentation. I'd like to thank the moderators for answering the audience questions. If you have any comments on our previous and upcoming webinars or suggestions on the topics you wish AWS will cover in future webinars, please drop us a line at aws-webcasts@amazon.com. Again, that's aws-webcasts@amazon.com. Your feedback will help us to improve our webinar programming. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Enjoy the rest of your day.